Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. What are Karl Jobst' options? The first thing that came to mind is that old 80s song, Run away, turn away, run away, turn away, run away. Sorry, guys, maybe it's too early in the morning for a bad voice. Regardless, guys, look, business is not going well here. 317K views. You know, these videos are not what they usually are. Right? They're not the 1 million views, 700,000 views, almost 2 million views for Gerard the Completionist. Those days are far gone. And we got a problem. This man has lost over $1 million, is facing questions not only about his channel, his business, but also his character. Right? Now that he's lost and people are looking at his past, you know, you have these allegedly, don't sue me, Karl, allegedly, racist comments that he's made in the past, that are also dogging him. But it's really a question of character because you don't see any change, right? You don't see a change in his behavior. Look, as a Roman Catholic Christian, it is my duty to forgive people that ask for forgiveness, right? And it's not really mine to give, it's the Lord's. But if somebody was genuinely remorseful, you know, I would forgive them. I mean, it's not the popular thing now in cancel culture, right? People want to, you know, people don't believe in forgiveness anymore, especially on the internet. But I don't see this man remorseful at all. I see the same patterns. He's still on the worst app that he could be on, right? His Discord is just poison for his character. Let me tell you, for the way his character is viewed online, it's just terrible, right? Because that you don't see any remorse, you don't see any change, you know, other than I lost the case. But this is a man that needs a hard reset. You know, I have had friends in the past who have failed, and they asked me, because I was you know, I didn't lose as much as Karl, right? Almost 2. But I did lose a business in 2008, and it was about 987,000 just evaporated in a 2-week period during the market crash. And it was tough. It was tough, let me tell you. It took me 2 years just to get re-educated. It took me 4 years to get, you know, just a decent standing, you know, in economics. And it wasn't until 6 years that I was able to semi-recover and start building a path forward. So it's not easy. It takes sacrifice. It takes acceptance of what you did wrong. You know, I don't blame the government. I'm not one of these cancel culture pussies that says, oh, no, it's the government's fault. No, you know, it wouldn't matter who's president. Those were my business decisions. I'm not like the quartering. I'm not going to sit here, you know, and beg people for money for my poor business decisions. But you don't see Karl doing any of those things, right? You don't see him being contrite, saying I screwed up. I do have questions of character that I have to address. I have to become a better person. Maybe the internet, maybe being on Discord is not the best thing for me, and move forward. Now, you could run away, you know, as many people are putting in some of the comments. And guys, let me tell you, YouTube, with all this craziness that's going on, some of the comments I can't see. It tells me that I have comments on the video. But if you guys are putting anything, and I mean anything at all, that is a curse word, it's gone. And I don't even have the power to see it or approve it until like a week later it's coming out, when I see the comments. So and if you want to be creative, cool. You know, there's 1,000 different ways that you can say things. You know, unless somebody's being completely unhinged, I leave the comments up, right? So just find creative ways of putting your message, right? YouTube is being very stringent with my channel right now. So just keep that in mind. Now, back to the video. Well, before I continue, let's hear a word from our unofficial sponsor, Ricky's Hot Sauce. Let's hear about Billy Mitchell here. His next book, Approach Him, A Guide to Groveling for Mercy to the Gamer of Eternity. Use discount code Karl Jobst for 10% off. There it is, Ricky's Hot Sauce. Oh, man. Let me tell you something. He's putting out some of the previous posts from Karl. And apparently there's not going to be any mercy. I am growing concerned that at Karl Jobst Gaming may overdose on copium. I am therefore opening discount code COPE on rickyshotsauce.com for 10% off. Zero proceeds will support his rehabilitation. He goes bankrupt and loses all his assets. Also, I chase him forever. Carl Virgin at 30, Jobs versus Billy Gigachad Mitchell. Oh, man. Let me tell you. He's having a good time with it. Now, guys, getting back to this, anybody, and look, anybody can screw up in life. Anybody can make the wrong choices. Anybody can do really bad things. And somebody can be truly repentant and want to change their character for the better. I'm a good example of that. I turned my life around from very dark places. But you have to be repentant, right? You have to accept that you said something wrong, right? You have to accept the words that you said in the past, right? Not the made-up words, right? Not means, right? But things that you've said that are actually wrong. Actions that you took that are actually wrong. And if you're able to build from that and build character, there's a way out. Or you could just run away, right? But in this case, it wouldn't be an option for Karl because I believe he has property. So you can't run away from property. But what could you do, right? What would you do? Well, here's a hypothetical. Pure hypothetical again, Karl. Don't sue me, right? We're just shooting the breeze here. It's not financial or legal advice. We're just talking. If we were in the situation that you were in, right? Hypothetically, right? If it was me, right? Not you, Karl. If it was me, right? And I was facing questions of character, past racist comments, cheating and speedrunning, things like that. If I was facing those kind of things, and if I had a Chinese wife, I'd probably go to China. I love going to China. Let me tell you guys. When you guys think of China, you always think about Beijing, But let me tell you, there's other cities out there, man. Look at this. Look at this. When you go to China, one of the things that you're going to notice, like when you go to Shanghai, for example, is how little we spent on our infrastructure here in the U.S. Right? During this whole economic boom where we're talking about tariffs and stuff, you'll see a lot of Chinese influencers, a lot of Chinese people say, you guys spent your money on the stock market. We spent our money on infrastructure. That's not our fault. They're absolutely correct. Our leadership here in the U.S. throughout the years, both Republican and Democrat. As a matter of fact, it's mostly Democrat, right? If you look at the last 40 years, have not spent money on infrastructure like the Chinese have. And you can tell once you hit the ground and you go to the cities. Now, not all the cities are like this, by the way, guys. A lot of people say, well, you only put the great parts out there. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, just like in any country, right? You're not going to go to the crappiest places on any country, right? But when you go to China, when you go to the big cities and you see how modern everything is, how there's places you don't need your wallet, you just walk around with your cell phone, you pay with your cell phone. How cheap Ubers are. There's different apps over there, but transportation's really cheap. And you get around. My favorite city, by far, Shenzhen. A lot of these cities look cyberpunk, let me tell you, especially at night. The mere collection of engineers in China is just outstanding, right? They don't have people out there with worthless degrees that are worth nothing, that cry on the internet, that blame the government for them choosing underwater basket weaving for emotional support. And then they get mad, right? Because they have these useless degrees and have to work at Starbucks. You don't have a lot of that over there. People actually go for degrees that make money. Xiamen is a good city too. It's right by the airport. Regardless, guys, if you sacrifice, right? And there's other things to see. Let me tell you, if you are a single guy, and just recommending here, there's such a single guy in your later life, there's such an abundance of single professional women in their 30s that, in their society will not get married. But if you want to look for some beautiful women, if you like Asian women, Chinese women, my lord, right? They're not as beautiful as my wife. Babe, I love you. Right? But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places to meet. Not for Karl Jobst, of course, he's married, but I'm just saying in general. But he needs to be contrite. He needs to rebuild himself, because people are questioning his character. What's hurting his channel is not that he only lost a lawsuit. What's hurting his channel is the way his character is being viewed, that he's a low moral individual who has not only done, said and maybe done some questionable things in the past, but that he's not contrite, that he's still the same person on Discord, right? And you could rebuild your life. It's not going to be easy, and not at all, right? You still have to go through these court proceedings. There's a reason why these bankruptcies are 3 and 4 years, 5 years, because that's really how long it takes. If you really want to work at it, if you really want to rebuild yourself. This guy has gone to school, never finished a single degree, according to public record. So you could go back and make yourself a professional. I mean, what do you got to lose? You're just sitting here making stupid videos on the internet. This is a hobby. This is a hobby. This is not, even though it's been successful to this point and has let you stay at home, this is not something that lasts forever, guys. Being on YouTube and being successful, it's like a lottery ticket. You have to take care of that nut. Karl Jobst failed to do that. Right? He could put all the money in some sort of investment account and just let it ride forever. Instead, it's all going to Billy Mitchell. Right? But that's the reality. That's the reality. So you have to accept reality, be contrite, commit yourself to becoming a better individual. Like I said, some people will never forgive you. And because of my faith, I have to forgive him if he asks for forgiveness. I would do that for any person, regardless of who it was. Right? For me, it's not about cancel culture. It's about, what I believe in my heart. Because I am a person that has failed miserably. Right? I am a person that has done, questionable things in the past. Right? Things that I'm not proud of. Right? Nothing legal. Well, it depends on the country. But regardless, you can rebuild yourself and become a better person. I wouldn't be the person I am now. I wouldn't be in the situation I am now with a beautiful baby, wonderful kids, a beautiful wife, if I didn't repent for all the stupid things that I'd done and committed myself to rebuilding my life. But you don't see this from this man at all. I think that's going to hurt him. It's not going to be the clowning. It's not going to be Billy Mitchell humiliating him on Twitter or X. It's not going to be the trolling. It's not going to be the amount of videos. It's what you decide to do as a man. It's not taking responsibility. But traveling would be a great thing for him, because those courts, man, those courts don't like him anymore. He's already got a reputation there. Right? And if somebody else comes and sues him again, those judges, it doesn't matter what they say. It's normal for people to talk shop. You think that judge doesn't have a copy of Urs Katz posting, knowing that Urs Katz went to testify? Right? And it's a slam dunk for Billy Mitchell if he wants to sue him. If Billy Mitchell sues him and just starts showing this stuff, it's going to be tough. Right? It's going to be tough. But who knows? Who knows what this man is going to decide to do? Your character will determine your future. Your focus, right? As Qui-Gon Jinn said once, your focus determines your reality. And Karl Jobst's focus right now is, I did nothing wrong. I did everything correct, just like DSP. So I think we're going to keep on getting the same old Karl Jobst. All right, humans, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.